Your insecurity, your ego, and your inability to delay gratification is costing you big time. I know I preach on this channel a lot about training really hard, going balls to the wall. That's how we gotta train. We gotta go all out. We gotta bring the intensity. We gotta bring the heat. We gotta go all out. Go hard or go home. And we do. It's very true. But we need to do it in a planned, coordinated way where we have the days where we go all out, but then we also have the days where we rest. I understand that my audience is young men, and a lot of you guys crave constant action. You want to always be rapidly progressing. That makes sense to me. But you have to also delay your gratification. You'll have to put, your insecurity and maybe even your ego, you have to put that aside and realize that to make significant progress in the gym, it requires intense training, but it also requires rest and recovery. You only grow when you're recovered. You don't grow from actually lifting the weights. You only damage your muscles from lifting the weights, and then you grow from the recovery of that. So many people I know lose gains. Actually, most people I know lose gains because they're either not training at all, or when they hop on the training wagon, they go way too hard. They're doing stuff that's unsustainable. I want to break down the 5 reasons why rest days are just as important as gym days. So number 1, we covered it already. I briefly touched on it just now, but the intensity, is the most important thing in the gym. It's going to, you only are able to grow or realize the growth stimulus from, the last 3 reps in a set usually. Only those last few reps are actually going to make you grow. The other reps are just getting you to that point. What happens when you go too often is that your muscles and also your nervous system start to become too tired to push yourself to that point of, failure, where you're getting those last couple reps out. You're not going to be able to do that mentally and physically. You're not going to be able to do that. And so your intensity is going to collapse. So you're not even going to be able to achieve a growth stimulus from training in the gym when you start to overtrain, when you skip your rest days. Your baseline strength level, your baseline of your output, what you can do, gets lowered. It gets low as even 70% sometimes. The thing is, a lot of people don't even realize it because it's just the new normal for them. You got to realize, in order to grow, you need to push yourself a lot harder than a lot of people might realize. You got to also progressively overload, and that's just impossible when your intensity is not going to be at the level you need it to be at, because you've skipped recovery, you skipped rest, and you're just too tired. You don't have the energy to push yourself to that failure point. All right, number 2, again, we also touched on this in the beginning, but you don't grow in the gym. So in the gym, you create the stimulus to grow. But you don't actually grow. You might get a pump, you might fill your muscles with blood and get a pump temporarily, but that's not actually your muscles growing. It doesn't actually grow that fast. The muscles only grow when you're resting and recovering. That's when they, you break your muscles down in the gym, and then they recover later when you rest, when you sleep. If you skip this phase, if you skip the recovery, or if you don't allow your muscles to recover properly, they can't grow. It's as simple as that. I say over and over again, people always ignore this, but there's not much more I can do other than let you know. You need to recover in order to grow. If someone's on steroids, or someone's a 1 in 10,000 case, okay, yeah, maybe that guy can continue to grow with very little recovery. But for almost all of us, in order to actually grow, we need to rest and recover very, very well. Think about as hard as you've trained in the gym, you need to rest equally as hard. Think of it like that in order to realize the same. This is the stimulus, this is the growth. If you train this hard and you only rest this much, you will only grow this much. So you need to rest as hard as you've trained in order to experience the growth. All right, now we're going to start getting into the real negatives. Regression. So regression is a real thing that happens. Actually, let me touch on something from a personal point of view. Back when I did push-pull legs, when I was, my first year and a half of lifting, every time I did 4 days in a row, I would always feel the repercussions of that within a week. Every time I trained 4 days in a row. If I did 3 days in a row and then skipped that rest day, or even if I just did one more day, so if I did push, pull, legs, and then push one more time before doing a rest day, I would always feel the repercussions of doing that within 1 week from that point. Guys, if you're new here, or if you've stuck around and watched some of my videos already and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I got plenty of gym advice coming your way. I help young men make the transformation from skinny to big. So if you're interested, please hit that subscribe button to stick around for more. All right, number 3, regression is real. So what happens when you start to wear your body down and you don't allow it to recover? You actually end up losing strength and losing muscle mass. You end up losing your gains. Instead of building muscle, you're tearing it down, you're burning it. You're constantly in a fatigue state. A lot of people think, okay, at least I'm not growing, but I'm staying at this same level. No, you're not maintaining. You're backsliding. You're deteriorating. What happens in the gym is you push yourself to a point where you tear the muscle. You create little tears, and the point of doing that is that when you recover, it grows bigger and stronger. What happens when it doesn't grow back bigger and stronger is that you just keep tearing it down. And there gets to a point where it's not going to be able to recover to the same point it was. So, you're going to backslide. This is why people regress very significantly on certain lifts, like bench press especially. People might notice it with your physique. The pump that you get from the gym is no longer able to maintain or keep up to the same level of standard that you used to want it to, just because you've regressed too far. All right, number 4, injury. I think most guys around my age have all experienced this at some point, because we didn't know the proper ways to train back when we first started lifting. But it's like a lot of people, especially with the bench press, we overbenched. We had shoulder pain, back pain, elbow pain, joint pain somewhere. These kind of injuries, they always hold you back. They always make you regress. Also, we got even more serious injuries, bicep tears. I actually know multiple people who seriously injured their back and been out of it for years because of the gym. And even if you're not like that, even if it's a minor injury, most people, when they get injured, they completely regress when it comes to the gym. It's like, it's a total reset. Even though it doesn't have to be, it's a total reset. Injuries and setbacks, they do happen once in a while. And yes, as lifters, we should find a way to work around them. However, of course, we want to avoid them as best as possible. Is overtraining is one of the best ways to guarantee that you're going to get injured. It's also probably one of the worst consequences to overtraining. Don't be this guy. Don't overtrain to the point of getting injured. Take your rest. I've been in that situation. Luckily, there was nothing like career ending for me. It was just, significant shoulder. I remember my shoulder was fucked for like 1 year because me and my friend kept overbenching. And actually, I remember I was like, maybe we should stop, or maybe we should back it off. He's always like trying to max out. No, keep going. Trust me, bro. And so, yeah, that was really bad. And yeah, so that's how we ended up getting injured and holding back our progress significantly. Obviously, the good thing is that we learned from that and we moved on, But now I'm passing this information to you, so hopefully you can avoid this from happening. All right, number 5, and this is one that I actually didn't think about before, but, I kind of overlooked it, but I realized it's just as important. It's the mental burnout. So when you train too often, you are going to not only fatigue your CNS, but also just your mental capacity to continuously push yourself in the gym, to push yourself through that pain point. Eventually you will burn out if you don't take the rest days, and if you don't have other things going on in your life as well. That's just as important. This applies not only in the gym, but I'm sure most of you can relate to other parts of your life too, where you've gone too extreme on certain things and you just totally burn out and crash out. You don't want to do that. You want to play the long game when it comes to the gym. Some things maybe it's okay to be very polarizing and make it so that you go really extreme and then you go out of that phase. But for the gym, you want to play the long game. Playing the short game doesn't really get you anywhere. It's not going to make any significant change to your body. The gym needs to be a long game. If you want to build significant muscle mass, you need at least 3 months. Guys, this is a direct threat to your progress. I see it so many times. I tell people over and over again, but usually I get ignored. Of course, you can take this information as you will, but I really recommend you, and I actually promise to you as well, if you take this advice to heart, if you actually take your rest days, you will definitely see much better results than someone who skips their rest days, skips their recovery days, goes to the gym. That person might, I understand that you feel like going, especially if you're doing, push-pull legs, you go 3 days in a row. The 4th day, it's like you almost feel kind of empty skipping the gym. That's part of the journey as well, having the discipline to realize that, you shouldn't go this day. That's also part of, building yourself when it comes to the gym. Your rest days are just as important as your gym days. They're called growing days. You can't be skipping your rest days. Anyways, guys, with that being said, that's gonna bring us towards the end of this video. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you're not already, comment your thoughts down below. Do you disagree with this message? I want to know why a lot of people just can't seem to take this piece of advice or want to go to the gym 6 days or more. Anyways, with that being said, I'll see you in the next one.